G'day traders, John from Crypto Candlestick Trading. Just having a look at the crypto markets today, and we've had a little bit of a breakout as we can see. And I just wanted to have a look at kind of where we've come from and where we're possibly heading to. And as we can see from here, this is on the daily chart. Actually, we'll have a look at the weekly chart first, and we'll come back to daily. On the weekly chart, the long-term view, this is we had the massive run to 20,000, then we came back down for a massive crash, and then we didn't live under the 200 at all. Went up to 14,000 and we broke below, and we had one close, a fraction below the 200, and then we came back up, all the way up and then down. And then if we look here, we've got an engulfing below, engulfing and a third engulfing, which kind of looked like exuberance. There was a lot of volume in there, and we were in the oversold areas. And but anyway, we've come down and now we've reversed, and this here is candlestick reversal pattern. There's no doubt about it, that is. Now, whereabouts is it going to head to on the weekly chart? So we're looking at this, and it's not too much of a gap from here up to this line here, which is so the 200. We'll just get an accurate figure for that. And what I'm looking at is this number here. When that happens, so you can see that number there, the 200, and I'm just going to bring it on today's candle, or this week's candle, and the 200 is at 24,655. So if we reach 24,655, we could be expecting some sort of resistance at that area. If we don't get it right there, the second point of resistance, which is probably the main point of resistance that I'm looking at. Now I'll go to the daily chart to explain this. Actually, the 50 we know, the 50 and the 200, we're going to see massive congestion in that area. Actually, it's not a definite, it's highly likely that we're going to see massive sort of resistance in this area. We've got three reasons why there's going to be massive resistance, and that's the weekly 200, the weekly 50, and this resistance line that's above us now. So that's the weekly chart. Let's have a look at the daily chart. We'll just explain why it's looking like. So we've had like a massive sell-off, and then we've come back down. We've had a little bit of a sideways trading. And then we've had an engulfing up, but it was about 20% sell-off, so it wasn't very good. And then we've had a massive sell-off, but if we have a look here, it's bought back a fair bit, then a big sell-off, and then we've got massive big buying that's come back into the market here. Then we've come back down here, and I was still looking at going short on this one here, but I was too busy in different markets. Then we came across here, and I was still watching it, but I wasn't really all that excited about, this being a run from here up to the 200. I mean, yeah, okay, it looked pretty good, but the risk that was involved in it just wasn't really worth it to me. If we have a look at the breakout sort of candles that came through here, that's just not really, it's broken above the, so we've got a close above here, 50% pullback. And then we've got a little red candle, which is good. And then we've got here, this sort of candle here. If we were to split this in half, that's like a inverted hammer and like a shooting star, or inverted hammer and a hammer. So if we were to cut that one in half there, and then, but the way it looks now, as we can see, it's an engulfing pattern. And then we got, which I wouldn't have entered on this one here. And then we got another red one, and we got an engulfing here. So would I have entered on this one here? Probably not. But let's just looking at it like that. So we'll just draw a trend line, and I'll see something else that I'll show you as well, which would have made that one the entry. If this was a good looking candle, it would have been in there for sure. Now it's gone up, and the next part that I was watching was for this area here to be broken. And so, there was quite a bit of resistance at that area, even though we're broken above the major moving averages. This to me looks like a pump and dump sort of material. It might take off, but the chances are that we're going to have some sort of a significant pullback after a run like this, simply because, we know what happens when we have a run, up to the 200. There's been no time for a breather before we break out. So, we just come, plowing straight through it, and then we pull back a little bit, and now it looks like we're going straight up to the, this resistance line there, 25 and a quarter. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But as we've come down here, and then we're going to attempt to rally, and then we'll pull back, and then we've got lows, highs, high lows, high highs, all the way up to here. And so this point here is the one that we need to break. From there, we've come down a little bit, and now it looks like we're heading back up to that same area for, if it breaks this area here and we close above here, then, I'll be convinced at that stage that this market has turned around, and we're heading up in that direction there. But it needs to break something on the weekly chart. If we're looking at a place to buy, that is the best place to buy, with the least amount of risk, it's in this area here. And so anyway, that's the sort of area that I'm looking at to buy. So if we go up there and break up, and then pull back, or even if we go up there, have a little bit of a muck around and then break out with a nice solid candle, I'll be buying there. If we go up, break straight through, I won't be buying that because that to me is like exuberance. It's it needs to have a pullback. So I'll be looking at a pullback to this line or to the 50, and then looking for breakouts from there. But at this stage here, I'll just get rid of that line there and go back to where I was at. So that's pretty much it on Bitcoin. We can see here that there's a lot of markets that have taken off and done nicely. They've done well. I'm not really I'm just not excited about buying here. Under the 200. To me, it looks like there's more selling that's happened here than buying. Like if we have looked just recently in the past, there's been a lot more selling. This is a nice push. There's no doubt about it. But I want confirmation. And if we've had runs like it's gone up to 20,000, down up to 14, and then all the way up to 65,000, then up to 68,000. Now, if we break up along these kind of areas here, another thing as well, traders, before we break up into those areas, if we have a look at when we actually came down and like below these kind of areas, we had a nice big push and attempt, and then we collapsed again. So here, like we haven't even had a flattening out range yet. This massive rise, dump like that, and then there's a nice head and shoulders in there too. We haven't had a flattening out. To me, it doesn't seem finished. But it doesn't matter what I think really. It matters what the candles say. So if we do get a buy up here, even whether it looks finished or not, I'll be buying. But it needs to be a proper buy. It needs to be a good buy. On the weekly chart, is it a buy? No. Simply because it's too close. And I would rather everything be on our side before we buy instead of waiting. But I will be looking for potential shorts at this area if we get reversals at that area, because we've got more selling that's happened in this area than buying. So anyway, traders, I'll keep this one pretty quick. That's around about where we're at Bitcoin, and I'm just kind of waiting and we'll wait and see what happens. And just look at that here. If we go back and have a look through the lessons, is there a buy here? If anything, it was probably this one here, but it's not. It just doesn't look like a solid buy to me. Anyway, I'm going to wait for something that looks more solid. We could even be buying this if you really wanted to, but the run is only from here up to here, so all depends on what you want to do. All right, traders, I'll leave it at that. There have been some that have taken off fantastically. We'll just go through a couple of these. Hey, look at that. So that's already up at the resistance area, up at the 200. Where are we at here? Oh, no, that's looking pretty good. This one's looking pretty good. That's not a buy signal, but looks pretty good. That looks like exuberance, to be honest. This here, run to the 200 possibly. Where are we going there? Yeah, possible run to the 200. And same again. So, look at that. We've got shooting stars engulfing to the south side. There's a lot of wicks up the top here. Where are we at with that one? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Nice engulfing at the top there. That's good. Yep, closed above, but so we could get some of these, run, and they could go quite nice, but the main thing is what we're going to look out for is Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks out and takes off, everything else will too, or 9 out of 10 of them will anyway. So, but look at some of these massive big runs here. But after we see something like this, what usually happens? Like that almost looks like exuberance to me on the breakout. If this was an engulfing pattern here, I wouldn't be buying it because it needs to have a break before it does that. Like this engulfing pattern here, nice. Like I probably would have taken that, even though there's a bit of a wick on it. But look at that, we've got a doji engulfing, nice, above the 9, above all the moving averages at that stage. Here, not much there for me. Nice solid close. Almost looks like exuberance. I don't know. I want more confirmation. I'll wait for Bitcoin to do its thing, and then we'll have a look. And so here we are between, with Bitcoin there. So at the moment, don't feel in the middle. We've got here to here, and so. If we get a breakout, above these areas here, we'll be above on the weekly charts. If we get breakouts below, up there reversing, we'll be looking more to the south side. I'm still looking for this kind of action on the weekly chart. We can see it here on the daily chart, looks pretty good. But anyway, all right, traders. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions about your charts, let me know. But really, one last thing. If we look at this, this is not massive. It looks massive on the daily chart, but it's, like we've still got some, a lot of work to do that's just in front of us. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. All right, traders, if you have any questions about charts, let me know. I'm more than happy to talk about charts. And I hope you have a good weekend. All right, talk again soon. See ya.